you?
Hello, hello.
Hi, Shea.
It's good to see
Hi,
you.
DXH.
I'm Davey. Sorry, here I'll fix that up for you, listeners. There are these little boxes in Zoom, and they have my initials with a very cryptic X in between it. Let's see if I could fix that. Shea, you
While you're
look
doing that,
wonderful.
you do.
Thank you. You look amazing as well.
Oh, I just look ferile.
You giving very much punk rocker. I'm about to go on stage.
Do you like the punk rock? I am about to. My
I do
life is
love
a
the punk
stage.
rock. Of course, you know that.
Did you? I didn't. Shea. That was one of the quite. We're going right into it, Lindsay Parker.
Jump right in. Why?
I
No
mean,
time to lose.
You are just so profoundly talented and moving, and so I'm curious as an artist. One of the things that I did wonder is, what genres are you into? And I actually specifically wondered because I come from you nailed it. I did come from a punk rock community. I can't help but wonder in the parallels of the passion and the intention of the sentiments of punk rock and what you do musically, if you had any interest in that, if you enjoyed any of that art.
Right. For me, it's every genre.
Mm-hmm.
So country, rock, blues, soul, rap. As long as it's speaking to my spirit, I'm with it. Certain like negative like songs that are talking like all this crazy stuff. I'm like, can't get into it.
Wait a minute. What do you mean like crazy
I
stuff?
cannot listen to like YouTube's like top like 150.
Oh,
like, I
okay.
think it's 150. Yeah, some of these songs are really really gross, but artists art. But
I
for
agree.
me, I love country, rock, soul. I'm just there for all of it. I love music, and I love the ability and the power that music has to tell a story. And each person's story is unique.
When you were growing up, what specifically, which artists did you find the most solace in?
Tina Turner, Diana Ross, James Brown, Whitney Houston. I started getting into some Mary J, Alicia Keys.
Did you like Billie
The
Holiday?
list can go on forever.
Did you Billie Holiday
Missy
movie?
Elliott. Some that may surprise you because I don't like to say like the obvious. Right. But do you remember Billy Ray Cyrus? Song "Achy Breaky Heart"?
Yeah.
Were you a fan?
Still
I
do.
could see you guys collaborating in some way.
Listen, you put that in the universe, I'm ready for it.
That's what Lindsay
does.
Put
it in the universe, I'm ready for it.
So we have been joined by Shea Diamond. As I was mentioning before you got on the show, Shea, you just released a song on Friday called Presence of a Legend, and it's from a documentary called Mama Gloria, which I've seen the trailer of, and I'm really excited to see the film. I love the song. Can you tell me a little bit about how you became involved in this project? Because, it's just speaking of fascinating stories, this is a story that needs to be heard.
Mm-hmm. Yes, well, Mama Gloria's team reached out and to my team and asked if I would do this song, and I actually watched the trailer and all that great stuff, and it just brought me to tears. And what happened was Janet Mock had said something on stage. She was like, "You need to stand." And it was when Mama Gloria was coming on stage, and it just brought these ideas together that is what this song is going to be called, is a presence of a legend. And so I just got to talking about just like how it is to be trans and how we don't live to see past 30.
That line was very powerful in the song.
How we owe everything we are right now to our legends, to our ancestors that have paved the way, that aren't able to see this day of us in celebration. But fortunately enough, Mama Gloria is still around, so we can celebrate her. So I wanted to put a little extra oomph on it, and to really make it impactful and make sure she knows she was celebrated while she was here on this earth.
Have you had a chance to meet Gloria Allen is her name, right? Mama Gloria.
Yes, I'm actually going to meet her today.
Wow.
So
Whoa.
yeah, I'm actually going to meet her today. So after this interview, I'm actually going right on over to them because we're going to be watching it on PBS
Wow.
today.
Okay,
So
I
it's
gotta
going to
check that
be
out.
the premiere for
The
Mama
premiere
Gloria.
is the
Oh,
premiere
you're going to
actually
see the whole
today?
thing. It's today.
Yeah, the premiere. It's an
Oh, I didn't
event
know.
today. I don't get me wrong. I don't want to say the premiere is
Is it
today,
a
but
screening
yeah,
just for
There's a
you?
screening.
but that was the
Okay.
language.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
because I need to
Luke,
check that.
tell us in the chat.
Well, could
The
some?
illustrious
Definitely.
Luke Berlin,
I'll
Shia's
give you all the
publicist,
information
are
in the chat.
in the
I
back.
hate to not be prepared for an
Oh,
interview, but
Luke,
it's
tell us
it's
like,
if
all
if
good.
it's we
you
can
never
watch
know
it
what you're
today.
gonna get. And
We'll
I'm
be
so
watching
bad
it
with
soon.
days. I'm
Me?
always
Oh, Shia,
asking
what day is? We don't know what
people,
day it
what do
is.
I need to do today? They like, Shia, brush your teeth, make sure you go out and walk the dog. I was like, oh yeah, you know.
Well, so Shia, obviously Mama Gloria has an amazing story. I'm sure you've told the story many times, but you have an amazing story that I want to get into for our listeners who are unfamiliar with your story and your work, because we've had Justin Tranter on the show. I'm a huge fan of Justin, and they were
Justin
telling
is
me about,
amazing.
yeah, and Justin kind of discovered you. You had a later launch in career than most. It's a line that you mentioned that's so chilling, so interesting about trans people not making it to 30, because you suddenly have this amazing career and it didn't really happen for you until you were about 40 or so, right? So let's get
Yes.
into
Yeah,
talking
you better
about
say that. You better say that.
how did
Well,
this all come together?
First of all, I did some things I'm not proud of because I wanted some things desperately. And if all y'all know American Pie about the American dream,
Hmm.
I thought that I would never be able to access that. Someone like me would never be able to achieve something like that. No matter how hard I worked, I would die before I get it. So I wanted gender affirming surgery and all that great stuff. I wanted to live my best life, you know, um, and so I went out and committed a crime, armed robbery, got sentenced to 5 to 20. And I did 10 of those years
Wow.
to where I was misgendered and all the great stuff. But, it was just the mental abuse that I felt like I went through my whole life because people didn't understand at the time what trans was. And so here I am, where all my rights are stripped from me. And so I really have this type of sense of it's shit done got real. Excuse
Hmm.
my language. Shit done got
Go
real,
right ahead.
and here I am. I may die up in here. And so what I started to do was write down my thoughts. And I wanted it wasn't even intended to be a song. I didn't look at myself as a songwriter. It was my testament. It was how people treated me. It was
Hmm.
how I got punished for being her my whole life, and just how heavy it weighed on me, and just like how I knew like these inside things of like there was always somebody like me in everybody's family, whether they knew it or not.
Hmm.
Like how it takes one to know one, and so I
Hmm.
can kind of like spot them. I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, get ready,
Mhm.
But I was just like letting them know there's an outcast in everybody's life. And so this thing that makes people uncomfortable, that they don't like, that shadow, under, it is something that they will experience if they aren't experiencing it now. Everybody will. So there's gonna be somebody in your life, somebody in your family, whether you know it or not, they're dealing with it. And but anyway, so I wrote down these thoughts and how
While you were incarcerated, you wrote these thoughts
while I
down?
was incarcerated,
Okay.
yes.
So to be clear,
And
for the
I,
listeners, you're referencing "There's a shadow in everybody's life, and I am her." That's those lyrics that you're writing
Mhm.
incarcerated,
The song
correct?
I Am Her, yes.
yeah, a dark cloud in everybody's
Everybody's
front door.
oh, I
Yeah.
am her.
Yeah,
Woo! What a
it's these
song,
things that
Shia!
people don't like to
Jesus.
see. Nobody wants nobody blocking their sun.
Right.
You
Well,
know, you don't want no dark cloud blocking your sun. You don't want
Mhm.
no shadow at your front door. You're like, who is that? So these things that make people uncomfortable, make people uneasy,
mhm.
that we all will have to experience that. And so I was writing like how, you demonize trans people and gay
Mm-hmm.
people with the Bible. So I made sure I put in James 2:10, the sin is a
Mm-hmm.
sin, because people tend to think that, that sin is greater if it's a certain way, if it's presented a certain way. So uh,
So, Shia, may I ask? So, do you believe in the concept of sin?
I believe in the concept of sin. But I believe that man and God's concept of sin is probably completely different. Man goes on what they don't like and can't tolerate. But I believe God, loves us in spite of. And it's our imperfections that make us who we are. And that's, we were here to experience what we're experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't believe that man has a heaven or hell to put you in. And
Mm-hmm.
that they put themselves in those positions to do that daily. So you're always being judged. And here you are, this religious person that it says first, thou shalt not judge. What
Uh-huh.
we do, we judge.
Right.
And so, like, you at some point you have to make it make sense. Like, God says, that you can be forgiven 99 times, 9 times, but
Mm-hmm.
man can't forgive you once.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the concept of sin is completely different. They say abomination is homosexuality. No, abomination is any sin against God.
Mm-hmm.
Any sin. God can't look upon sin. And so people don't understand the concept. Looking at somebody too long, that's lusting. You tell me who hasn't sinned, and I'll throw the first stone.
Mm-hmm.
Can I
Mm-hmm.
throw the first stone? Can I
Please.
be the one to throw the
Go
stone?
go right ahead. So the
Please.
And tell
song,
them exactly how they sinned. So yeah, I think man really positions themselves to replace God and want to be seen as God. That's
Mm-hmm.
why we have this power struggle of who is um, omnipotent, who is greater. And so God is more about humbled.
mm,
That's what's alluring to God, is that you humble yourself. Like, would you bend down and wash Shea Diamond's feet? No, man,
I
it's not gonna
someone
do
might.
that.
I'll wash
I
your
can't,
feet.
maybe every now and
Davey
again
If
says
they're
he
dirty,
will.
I
to
got
do
your
that,
feet, girl.
but
If your back hurts, just come on over.
right.
Davey is
But
willing
will
and
you humble
volunteering.
yourself in that way?
I got
We
you.
we all think too highly of ourselves, and I
Mm.
think God is a completely we don't worship the same God.
So
Now,
when
now
I
the
think
Christians are taking that perspective from the Bible, from what are ostensibly the words of God,
God
who are
wasn't a Christian.
right.
And so during the times that Jesus was on this earth, what did he do? He tore down the church because they was doing what? Made it a selling place. You can't get nothing free in these churches. Absolutely
Mm-mm.
nothing. They're gonna sell you a Bible, they're gonna sell you a dinner.
Cheers.
And before I understood, because it was to build the church, make it grow. But now
Mhm.
the churches are tax-free, and so people that's homeless out here, if you're doing God's work, what about these homeless people out here? What are you doing for them?
mm,
Mhm.
And so you can preach at people and get that collection of their last and sell them a dream, even though your sin may be worse than the one that they're dealing with.
Mhm.
so
So, I believe it's our relationship with God, and it's a personal relationship, and nobody should have access to that.
so
It's
going
a
back to
personal relationship.
the song I Am Her, because I just want to because you were talking about how you did it. You wrote the song in prison. Did you ever perform it there? Did people know that you were
I
writing,
did.
that you were aspiring to do songwriting?
Oh yes. Oh yes. Always been a dreamer. I've been talking about this since I was little. Oh, I wanted to be a star. Just wanted to be a star. So of course in there, I was singing these, what had become to be a song at this point, because at first, like I said, it was a testament. It was just
Mhm.
supposed to be my lasting thoughts, that if somebody said, okay, whatever happened to her, I didn't want the last thing to be that she committed a crime and
Mm.
then that was it. I didn't want that to be my memory, because that wasn't who I was
Mm.
and how I wanted to be defined. And so I would sing it, the song around, and the guys would be like, "Oh my God, I love this! I sang that I Am She song again. I mean, I
Oh,
am
it was a hit. It was a hit.
or sometimes when they didn't actually know, like all the words, they would like sing that Outkast song.
Oh.
And so but yeah, I would be, even in segregation, because I was
Mhm.
always in the hole for something, because I got punished for being who I am in
Yeah.
the inside. I wasn't going to change for in there. I got sentenced to a crime. I wasn't supposed to be punished for who I was as well. And so I was very clear on that, and I made that very clear on that. So I made a whole lot of waves in the inside,
Wow.
So and I became an activist in there first.
Mm-hmm.
But
Interesting.
yeah, but along that journey, I'm sorry, I kind of mixed up the question a little bit.
Well, I'm just,
If you would
Oh,
ask me
we have
that's the
many more
song.
questions.
We have lots of questions, but that's the song I Am Her that you were inspired to write while you were incarcerated.
Yes.
And then when thankfully were released, this song caught the attention of Justin Tranter, who, for people who
Yes.
don't know, is a super producer and songwriter who works with Selena Gomez and Imagine Dragons, and the list goes on. And they discovered you, right? And it's like you
Yes.
were performing at a Black Trans Lives Matter event or something. What was the
Okay.
story about how that happened?
Okay. So basically, I was performing. I had moved to New York on a whim, trying to chase the dream. So after I got released from prison, I hit the ground running. I knew what I wanted. I just, had to be on parole for like I think a year and a half. And then I said, okay, I'm moving to New York. It was New York, LA, or Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, one of these ones, is going to do it. And so what I did was I moved to New York. And right away, it wasn't just easy. It was just like, oh my God, I lost my songs that I had copywritten, and I Am Her was one of them. So the urgency to release I Am Her was so important to me because I felt like somebody had stole those songs, and I needed to get my story out, and that was my
Wait,
story.
I'm sorry, she. Okay,
Yeah,
I
I'm
missed the
sorry.
stealing part. Can you
So
detail?
I'm sorry. I went to the shelter
Uh-huh.
when I first moved to New York. So I left my apartment in Michigan after parole,
Yeah.
and I moved to New York on a whim. Sold my car, went to the shelter,
Uh-huh.
and so when I went to the shelter, at some point my songs got stolen.
What do you mean they got like someone stole your lyrics or stole your
All
tapes
of
or?
them. My letter of copyright that I had all worked for while I was incarcerated. All those songs I had written, a whole collection of them, handwritten by me.
So the
All
physical,
my thoughts.
the
Yeah,
sound, the sound of it, or the physical, or the intellectual.
the
Someone.
physical words. The
Oh, someone
physical words.
stole your lyric book
Oh
essentially.
man, how
Yes,
heartbreaking.
What do you
and I
mean?
was devastated.
Was
Yeah.
this what
And
did you feel that did you suspect who did it? Did you feel it was an attack? Or
well, I
were they
wasn't sure if it was the staff because the staff said they threw it away. And so I was like, can you show me the garbage where it's in? It's
Yeah.
really important. And I remember it was that day I left the shelter. I said, I can't do the shelter. I called someone that I knew. I was like, can I please stay with you for a couple days?
Uh-huh.
And I promise you, I won't be there for long. And I'm going to get a place just like that. And I did.
Were you
And
devastated? I mean, were you sick and devastated?
I
I
was
mean,
devastated. That was my life.
yeah.
Everything
And
I
you had
had
just
worked
gotten
for.
out, and that was your
Mhm.
whole.
Oh.
Was that the same physical record of what you created while you were on the inside?
It was, yeah, it was a physical record, a record
It
I
was
had
it. It was
created
the
while I was in the
same. It was the
inside.
same. Oh my god.
That's
Yes.
terrible.
And so I was just like, I can't do this. I can't
Yeah.
do this. I came all that way for that. Sold all,
Mhm.
left my apartment, security, all this stuff. So my car came here to this new state I know nothing about, first of
Uh-huh.
all. I knew nobody there
Whoa.
except for one person that suggested I move there.
Uh-huh.
But I didn't know her that well. And so here I am coming to this place, and then my songs, got stolen, and I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But long story short, I ended up finding an apartment.
Uh-huh.
Right away, I started, performing, and
Where
that
were
was at like protests and rallies and stuff.
okay.
It wasn't anything professional. It was just like, hey, we cutting up. Trans women are cutting up in these streets,
Mm-hmm.
and hey, that girl can sing some. So I sang "I Am Her."
Wow.
And that was the only song I would sing. I wouldn't sing anything else. And then so while they liked the song, they was like, dang, we've had kind of heard that like a million times. And so it was when I recorded it doing a group. And that one of those tapes Justin actually discovered. It was just something had less than 200 views. Justin
Wow.
discovered that and emailed me and was like, "Hey, I would love to fly you out and record this song." And I was like, "Right, here I am in the hood." And I'm thinking like, people just play with you every day.
Yeah.
Somebody just told me I won the lottery through the email, and
Yeah.
I just can't.
Yeah.
And he was so serious. He was like, but so I played first. I think first of all I played alone. I was like, so I can't get there. I live here in New York. He was like, don't worry about it. I'm gonna fly you out, take care of your lodging, and all that stuff. And I was like, yeah.
Sure you
And
are.
so yeah, but I of course I went along with it because since we're gonna play big.
Yeah. What's the
And
risk?
so I ended up Googling at some point and finding out he was the real deal.
Wow. What year was
Thanks,
that, Shea?
Google.
Shea, what year was that?
She's not a beach. I want to say it was 2016.
Wow.
Okay.
Has there been a documentary about your life, Shea? Because there should be.
Oh, there's gonna be.
A biopic.
Yes, there's
I'll write
definitely
it.
going to be. There's some huge things in the works.
Oh, okay.
Because kind of like mom's the word, but yeah, it's several huge things that align with that.
Awesome. Well, that makes total sense because we were getting into just the beginning of the story of your career. There's a great life story there, and it was all about we were talking about Justin Tranter, producing I Am Her and all the wonderful things that have happened since then. And then just if you go on YouTube and start looking up clips, like you got to perform for who is now our president, Joe Biden, and Joe Biden was like,
Yes.
so moved. Mayor Pete was talking about you on TMZ. Like,
yes, right?
Crazy. Mayor Pete was saying like you were like the only artist he even like listened to.
And he's the Secretary of Transportation.
There you go.
Yes, I love it. I think him and Chaston are just like angels. I was rooting for them all the way, and I still do. I'm excited to see where they're going to go from here. And actually, Chaston has a new book out as well. And so I adopted him as my son, if you didn't know.
I did not know
he's one of my sons, alongside Lil Nas. So
yeah.
So please don't try a Lil Nas, on the airway, because it'll make his mama upset. His queer mama.
Have you ever collaborated with Lil Nas? I feel like especially when we were getting into like the idea of sin and all that. I of course was thinking about Montero, Call Me by Your Name. Have you ever worked with Lil Nas X?
I have not yet. I'm going to say yet because we're going to throw that on in the universe. I said that's my son, and so whether he knows it or not, so at some point, him and his mama have to do a song together.
Has your son met you yet?
No, not yet.
It's funny. I just realized I've put into the universe that you should work with both people who were on Old Town Road.
Oh yeah.
Period. Wow.
That's right.
There you
That'll
go.
happen.
It's meant to be. But going back to, obviously now Biden is our president, but he kind of sought you out in like 2018. Tell me about the event that you performed. He was like so moved by it that like he wanted to have a conversation with you, right? Can you tell me about that? Must have been an amazing experience.
Yes. So before that, after he reached out to me and I didn't believe it, the first meeting wasn't him flying me out to LA. The first meeting was actually
this is Justin Tranter we're talking about.
Yes, Justin. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It was Justin saying, "Hey, before you come out to LA, I just so happened to be going to this Cyndi Lauper event, Home for the Holidays. And I would love you to be my special guest, VIP." I was like, "Oh, would you?"
In New York or in LA?
It was in New York. So Justin was coming to New York. And so I would get a chance to meet Justin before I went out to this strange person that I never met before. And, and record some music.
Yeah.
Quote,
right.
Quote.
Exactly. Like I'm never coming back. You're like, I made it through prison. I'm not coming out.
Right.
I don't know you.
And so it was such an amazing experience.
Wow.
He brought his mother out there and everything. And and she was just so amazing, still is. I love Leslie. Justin family is absolutely incredible. But yeah, so anyways, we enjoyed this. I met Cindy.
Wow.
And Justin looked at me and he said, "You're going to be playing here 2 years from now." I don't know, it's something with Justin in 2 years. But he's
Where
like,
was it? Where were you? What was the venue? Do you remember?
it was Home for the Holidays.
Oh,
Cindy Lauper.
it was the event. Okay.
Yeah,
Got
okay.
it. Got it.
And so he says it at the place, like literally, he just give me all his gift bag. That Cindy gives you a lovely gift bag. So that's my first time
bet.
experience
She's
getting
classy.
a gift bag.
Cindy Lauper is classy. I'm sure. What was in the gift bag?
Oh, child, it was like wine. It was electronics.
Damn.
It was like some of everything stuffed up in there.
Mhm.
And Cindy don't play.
No, I was.
And,
Yeah, I'm wondering where the jewelry comes in.
oh,
Was there jewelry in the gift bag? A little bit.
Anyway,
We'll say there was.
if
This
there
is
was
important.
jewelry in
There
the
was.
bag, then Justin kept the jewelry. Justin didn't give me the jewelry. Justin swiped the jewelry.
Man, just like Justin Tranter, just like him.
but the prophecy
this
that
was like
Justin
the
had came
opening.
true.
It was actually the opening to, like, this is the real deal.
Mhm.
Like, because I had always loved Cyndi Lauper. She was
Mhm.
one of the ones alongside Dolly Parton when I was growing up that gave me something that I needed to be
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. The strength. And I mean, Shea, you're here giving thousands and thousands of people that same strength, but even with more with more purity and with more
Mhm.
with more force. I mean, people who cannot glean that strength from someone who isn't you. You're providing a very specific strength, and it moves me so much.
Mhm.
That you have the strength and courage to do that and then succeed at doing that. It's so important. It's so wonderful. I'm certain Cyndi Lauper would say the exact same thing.
Mhm.
That's just a compliment.
Yeah.
Anyway,
No, do you get
go
a lot
on.
it
of
was
message
a
though?
year that I performed though there.
Mhm.
It wasn't 2 years.
A year
In one
later,
year
you're
you
there.
did
Justin lied. It was
Wow.
1 year.
There you
He was
go.
that
I just
liar.
had to put that out there.
Justin,
So,
you thief, you jewelry thief, and you liar, Justin. How dare you?
right.
Come
Like,
on.
horrible,
See, you were
horrible
right to
person.
mistrust him when you waited to go to Los
Of
Angeles,
course I
obviously.
was.
Jeez, this fucking guy.
Right. With that jewelry,
Yeah. Gee,
And
if I
then-
say I'm going to wash your feet, I'm going to wash your feet in 6 months. Not even 2 years.
And then everything just snowballed from there, right? Just one opportunity after another after another.
Really? It did. Actually, he did fly me out. Took care of everything he said he would. I flew out several times out there. Sometimes it was for work, sometimes it wasn't. Sometimes it was just like, hey, come on up, I guess it was kind of work because it was like photo shoot or something, but it was just so fab, that you didn't even realize you were working.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. Oh, Justin has that magic. It doesn't seem like work. It seems like you just, and that's what made me really connect again to music, that we're really doing something that we love, and it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to connect us all. And so people, don't really understand just like the power of music and how it can bring us together. And so when you have good energies aligned in the same room, you're going to make magic.
Now, Shea, the first track that you recorded was "I Am Her." Was that what you recorded with Justin here in Los Angeles?
It was "I Am Her."
And had you always wanted to do music and maybe thought that you wouldn't ever be allowed to, or wouldn't have a platform, wouldn't have an opportunity?
Yes.
Was this something you didn't realize you could do until, later in life, until you were in prison? Or was it always a dream of yours?
Since I was a tater tot. Since I was a little bitty one running around, like I said, looking at Tina Turner on TV and Private Dancer.
I'm your private dancer.
Yes, it did it. I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know what it meant. But I would dance around and singing, and nobody had a problem with it. So I felt that was fine. And
that's because you're just a tater tot.
I was a tater tot,
You were
right?
just a
Right.
tater tot. I was a little more baked by that point, so I know
But
what
I
it meant.
thought my dream was over when I was incarcerated.
Mhm.
And so I that's why I'm always so amazed, and I always talk with gratitude, because I never thought I would live to see this day, and that it could actually come into fruition. That those dreams that I had in prison that became nightmares, to
Mhm.
where I was just like on stage. I would have these literal dreams, to where I was on stage, I was singing this song, and the words were just like boom, 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 right? And I knew the song, it had, it was my own, and I was singing on stage in front of people, and then I would wake up to a cold, dark cell, and I would just
Mhm.
start crying.
Wow.
And
Wow.
so that's why I always use the phrase that if you don't live your dream, it can become your nightmare.
Mhm.
And that's what it was for 10 years.
10 years.
And
Oh, wow.
so to actually get out and experience all that, have those songs stolen, and um life wasn't easy. And I think it's our stories that really shape us. We all have stories that are amazing, incredible. We all endure stuff that either we share or don't share, that impacts us in a major way. And my story has really impacted me, and it brought back the dreamer in me. So
Wow.
now I'm deciding, well, who I want Shea to be. Because I seen something, an article, I can't recall because I wasn't even in the article, but it was naming, of course, isn't that shady?
Yeah.
I don't
About you and
recall
you
the
weren't in
article
it.
because I
Well, what
wasn't
was the
in it.
what was the article?
I don't recall because I wasn't in it. But it was it. I can't recall the name of it because I wasn't in it.
No,
Yeah,
but what
I
is
But
get it.
actually, they mentioned that a few artists that go by a different name than their own,
Mhm.
and I think Cardi B was on the list, and everybody, all the greats. But I was like, hey, here I am. That's not my name.
Hey, where's me?
There's a whole
where's
story to my name and how I got it, but nobody cares. But yeah, so I don't know where I was going with that, but
well
Well,
what
because
you
we
were
were
trying to
talking.
figure out where you were what kind of what Shea Diamond's going to be, what's next, like what kind of artist, something
Yes,
to that effect.
because I get a chance to say who Shea Diamond is,
mhm.
who she's going to be. Let her evolve. Let her create the boundaries that I was in, for who my now I have my chosen name.
Mhm.
You know, a past comes with my other name,
When did you
but
find
I
when,
create.
when did you find your chosen name? Were you still inside or was it on the outside?
Well, actually, I had a name I went by, before prison, but
Mhm.
then I was like, you know what? I could do better than that.
Mhm.
And so after everything I was going through, that diamond just kept on sniping at me. Like, I'm going through a whole lot. Like, I realized I was going through a whole lot, and I realized that the pressure that a diamond, it takes to formulate a diamond. And so for a while, Diamond was my name, just Diamond. It was just Diamond. And I had a dream in the inside. Again, it was those dreams, those lucid dreams in the inside. Oh my God. But I just woke up and with the name, because like during the name they were calling me Shigeisha. They were calling me Geisha. They were
Mhm.
calling me Geisha. I added the sh on when I woke up.
Okay. Oh, in the
Then
dream they
I
were
then
calling
I
you
Googled
geisha.
what it
Oh.
meant.
Oh, oh, oh.
Right.
Wait, you didn't
And I
know, you weren't familiar with the word when you were hearing it in your dreams.
I was
Interesting.
not familiar with the I
Well,
was not familiar with
this
the
is
word. So
mystical.
It's
here
meant
I
to
am in
be.
the inside, and
Yeah.
see, because I had limited access to everything. I was like, just
Wow.
I was
Yeah.
raised up in the church. I didn't really have access to anything, anyone. You know, now I've been opened up to a whole new world of like different people from state to state. I realized I wasn't even living before.
Wow. Well, I know we don't have much time left, Shea, but we were talking with the reason we had you on was we were talking about Presence of a Legend from the Mama Gloria film, which is about the activist and the legend herself, Gloria Allen, Mama Allen. But I very much want to see a film about you, but to bring it back to sort of this idea, you were talking about how Cyndi Lauper, was someone who meant a lot to you growing up. Do you get a lot of messages from trans youth about what your career and your story mean to them?
I do. Um, I get a lot of messages from their parents as well. And sometimes I get these messages and stuff that, just really just bring me to tears because there are so many kids that are suffering in silence.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're enduring so much violence in their home, and their parents don't even know that, their kids are dealing with trans issues, and they live in an environment that's not affirming. And so, you know, it's so much just to hear that my music is doing something, and I wish I could do more. I wish that I could have these conversations with parents, or just let them know the importance of what's happening in their child's development, like how how different that their child can be if they had the love still and had the support and the things that they wanted to do. But yeah, I get all these messages, and it's still from all over the world though, and that is what's so incredible. And so yeah, it's still unbelievable.
And is there anything else you can tell me about that you're working on musically, and anything you could tell me about a possible film or autobiography or anything? This
Album.
is album. This is a story that needs to be, heard by everybody. A voice that needs to be heard by everybody.
So we got an EP coming out this year. um and yes, the film. We pushed back the album because the album is going to be encompassed in the film, in
Wow.
one of the projects.
Whoa.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
A film about you.
yes, while we're making it.
Ooh.
Wow.
We're running out of time because you have a film premiere or film screening to go to, but I got
It's
questions. We're gonna have to
it's
have
a
you back on the
movie and
show.
it's a show. Crossing our fingers.
Oh, yes. Can
Oh
I be
my
on it?
God.
Of course, of course, of
I could just be like an
course.
extra in the background.
I'll volunteer as
I'll
well.
look younger if I'm in
We
the
would have
back.
to write something. I think it would serve more if we did something
Oh,
musically.
oh, I'm in.
Um,
Yep. Let's sing
yeah.
together. Yes.
Oh my God. It's
Yeah.
happening.
You
Volume
you let
West
me
is
know.
making it happen. Oh my God. I want to put that into the universe. All the things we're talking about. So many good things are happening for you, Shea, and you deserve all of it. You deserve the world. It's a wonderful story, a wonderful voice, a wonderful new song. We are in the presence of a legend right now on Volume West. I know you have to go.
Lindsay, stop it.
It's exciting. I'm so excited for all the things happening for you. I know we have to let you go so you can go to the Mama Allen screening, but thank you so much. And be sure to invite
Yes,
us to the screening of your movie when it
I
comes
will.
out.
And feel free to join me today too. Show Mama Gloria some love.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I wish I had more of the information. I know it's on PBS, and it's showing, it has another showing as well, but
Cool. Well, we
feel
will.
free to join me. I'll put that in the comments.
Awesome. It's a date. We will let you go now. Thank you so much for your time, Shea. We will be right
Love and
back.
light, y'all. Thank y'all so much. Bye,
Thank you,
Thank you
Dave.
so much.
Shea.
Take
Thank
care.
Bye,
you,
We'll be
Shea.
back
Lindsay.